Good morning and a hearty welcome from Virginia. I am in Alexandria, Virginia, for those of you that don't know, which is a few miles southwest of our nation's capital. So today we're going to be talking about nomenclature for naming hydrocarbons. In other words, we're going to be talking about IUPAC. IUPAC is an international group of chemists who came together to give standard names to molecules. Just so you know, before the introduction of um, IUPAC and their rules, a lot of molecules had weird names. There was never a standard agreement. So some molecule that was called compound X, say in the United States, might be called compound Y, say in Germany. So IUPAC was a way to introduce some of these standard rules. So the first thing we want to think about is some of our base names that we need to know. And so essentially we're going to be doing with hydrocarbons is naming the chains. And so when we name chains, we go by the longest carbon chain, meaning the chain with the most carbons in it. So what we're going to want to do is that we're going to want to count our carbons. But before we do that, let's learn some general names. If our longest chain has one carbon, we are going to use the prefix meth, end it with ane, because we are talking about alkanes. Two carbons in our longest chain will be F, ane. Now you don't need this hyphen in the name. I'm just putting that there just to really highlight that. Three carbons is going to be propane. Four carbons is going to be butane. And finally, five carbons is going to be pentane. All right. So now I would have this would be one carbon. All right. And then this would be two carbon, three carbon, 1, 2, 3, four carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and five carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, other ones you should know are going to be hexane. This is just going in order, so this will be six carbons. Heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. So if you notice, once you get past four, we go into pent, like pentagram, hexagon, heptane, octane, nonane. So these become a little bit more familiar. It's our first four that are a little odd, and those are just because those are common molecules. So a lot of molecules that have common names keep the nose a little itchy. We've known about them for a long period of time. So some of these may just have common names that we've kept. The ane tells us it's an alkane. The front part tells us how many. So this would have six carbons. This would have seven. This would have eight. This would have nine. This would have 10. Okay, so now we know how these chains work. Now we know how to name them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to clear this. We're still talking about alkane, so let's go ahead and go back through this. And so now imagine I have this molecule. I simply count the carbons. So remember, I said wherever lines come together and wherever they end, that's a carbon. So this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. All right. So I'm going to just draw an arrow so you can see where those carbons are coming from. Wherever two lines meet, two or more lines meet, and wherever there is a end of a line, that is going to be that. So this is going to be, there's 8 carbons. I go back to that chart. 8 is going to be oct, like octagons, like the stop sign. It's going to be octane. That's how I name that. So these are pretty simple. We just have straight chains, just have carbons and hydrogens. These are hydrocarbons, fairly simple. All right. So now, what if we have something like this? And I'm going to again write alkanes up here so we can keep track. What if I have something like this now? Okay, so now I no longer have a straight chain. I have what's called a branch. So how do I name these? Well, first, let's just count the carbons. So I'm going to circle all the carbons with blue. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A common mistake that people are going to make when they're first learning how to do this is that they're going to see 8 carbons. They're going to be like, oh, it's octane. And that's incorrect. So what we have to do when we name these now is that when we are naming compounds, particularly hydrocarbons or alkanes, we are just going to count the longest contiguous chain, the longest continuous chain. So if I take a green and I say I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So this is a 7. That's 7. I'm going to try counting from the other one. I'll change it to this color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that looks like that's 7. So it looks like 7 is my longest chain either way. So you go by the longest chain. So now, since there are 7 carbons, we are going to call this heptane. All right, and that includes our longest chain. So we're going to say that this is that we're going to do the green one. We're going to say that the green one is our longest chain. Right? It doesn't matter which one you do, but green is longest. So now that means that we need to worry about this one. All right. So now, if you have a side chain, we just take the prefix. So one carbon, if you remember, the one carbon was methane, right? We had one carbon, methane. And again, I'm putting the hyphen there just to emphasize that don't put the hyphen in the actual name. We take this prefix, meth, and we replace the ane. So methane becomes methyl. We replace the ane with YL. So now this is going to be methyl heptane. All right, methyl heptane. That's going to be your name. Now we got one last thing to cover about this, and we're going to introduce it quick. And I'm going to go. Gotta pause recording real quick. Sorry about that. I should take care of one thing, but now we're going to take care of this. I'm going to draw that structure again that we just had. So, and now we said that this compound was methyl, which is what we're going to say this carbon coming off was methyl because it had one carbon. And then we were going to say heptane. And now you do put a hyphen here when you put two words like that. So we have methyl heptane. So I'm going to go through and circle our longest chain like that. All right, so now methyl heptane. However, we've got to think about this. I could draw this exact same compound. I'm going to draw it right here to the left. Now, this is also methyl heptane. So how can we differentiate? Because these are two different molecules. You see that methyl is attached to a different carbon. This is where we introduce a numbering system. All right. So I go to my longest chain and I can count from left to right. 1, 2, I count the carbons, 3, 5, 6, 7, right? Also, I can count the other way, and I'm gonna just erase that real quick. I'm gonna come back and count the other way. Let me just grab a different color here. So I can start here and say this is 1. Oh, if I turn on the writing tool, let me write that T back and then I can erase it. That's heptane still. All right, but now I can come back the other way and count and go, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. So the question becomes, what numbering system do we do? All right. And so what I can do, and I'm going to erase my methyl heptane real quick, we're going to try this again, is I can do, if I say here 2, and I didn't mean to do that, apologize. Gotta remember to take it off of the eraser. So I'm gonna put that back there. Sorry about that. All right, so now I can come in and say, all right, I can name it. If I look here, I've got it coming off of the 2. So I could call this 2-methyl heptane, right? But if I use the orange numbering system, this could be 6-methyl pentane. So which of these is correct? Sorry, heptane. I don't know why I want to keep saying pentane. Sorry about that. 6-methyl heptane. And so now the question becomes which one of these is correct, right? If I count from left to right, it's 2-methyl heptane. If I count from right to left, it's 6-methyl heptane. When you are doing IUPAC, and this is a fairly simple idea, you simply pick the lowest number. So 2 is going to be lower than 6. Therefore, this is wrong. So my name for this compound should be 2-methyl heptane. All right. If you have specific questions, feel free to message me on the announcement that I'm going to post this link. Go ahead and do your best. If you have more questions or if you have a specific example, let me know, and I can work out another video and post it on there. All right. Best of luck to you guys. I hope you have yourself a wonderful Saturday.